Endangered animals? Sure.
Have you ever been to a country where they ate humans?
Well, not. I'm sure the countries in almost all the countries in Africa they probably ate a lot of humans, and I'm sure in the Amazon River they ate a lot of humans, but not presently. Okay. Normally that's kind of considered taboo, but I think 1,000 years ago meat was meat, so it's a different point of view, as time changes.
Have you ever went to Iceland?
No, I have some friends in Iceland, and to be a good country, I'd like to go on right now because the money crashed after the economic problems. The country of Iceland had big economic problems. One great time to go to a country is when the money devalues, because the buying power of the dollar increases. I think Zimbabwe is still in trouble. So they call this hyperinflation. So when you have hyperinflation in a country or something like that, but Iceland's, I'm kind of saving a lot of Europe for maybe when I'm either older or I can afford maybe a $200 to $300 a day budget, because enjoying a country is about affording the country. And Iceland's, although it's one of the highly developed countries on the planet, it's like Norway and Scandinavia. These countries are really expensive. I mean, what you would pay for a hamburger in the United States might be, I don't know, $2 now. They might be paying $8.
Have you ever been to a place that you loved, but you didn't want to leave, but you knew you had to?
Had to. I've never been in a place where I had to leave, other than sometimes it gets a little dangerous. I am very fortunate. I can stay as long as I want or leave whenever I want. So normally the culture starts to get tiresome to me. They call this cultural fatigue. I start getting tired of them cutting line on me. You're standing in line at the grocery store and they cut line, and here they walk into you and things like this. And it's about manners mostly. So eventually you want to change countries because of manners. But I could stay as long as I wanted. But generally they start. I'm not totally comfortable except in my own culture. Although right now that's becoming a problem because I've been gone for 12 years.
Have you had many animal encounters in the countries you've been in?
Animals?
Yeah.
Yes, chickens and no chickens, dogs, chickens, dogs, cats, cockroaches, spiders. Chickens are everywhere on the planet, and they wake you up. The bigger animals, like you see a lot of deer in Africa, and you see zebras, wild animals. Like I said, most wild animals are now in game reserves. Here's a little bit of trivia. In Africa, the British would make game reserves when they colonized the country. And one of the reasons why there's a lot of animals still alive is because the British had created big game reserves for their rich people to come hunt in. And they blocked off these, big areas of land and actually preserved by accident the animals. So, but if you go to Kenya or something like that, they're all within a reserve. I mean, the big animals, because if they're outside the reserve, they would eat them.
You ever seen an elephant?
Oh yeah. I was in the south of Nepal, and we took a wonderful trip. We were on the top of an elephant. The guy hits the thing on the head, and we were chasing rhinos. And there's no doubt the most powerful animal I've ever been on is an elephant. But generally, the ones in the zoo and the stuff are pretty passive. But a big elephant will. When we were in Nepal, and it was some park, Chitwan National Park or something like Chitwan, Chitwan, Chitwan. we were chasing these rhinos, and when an elephant goes through it, it takes its nose and it tears down trees. It'll break a tree this big with its nose, and it's, of all the experiences I've ever had traveling, that was one of the most powerful ones, because an elephant is the king. It can stand down a rhino. You know, the rhino's got the big horn in the front, but the rhino's afraid of an elephant. Most animals are afraid of elephants. It's a beast of burden that's very powerful.
Sorry guys, but we need to finish up. There are a couple more questions, but it's almost time for lunch.
Have you ever seen an elephant go crazy?
That's very common. That's very common in Africa. See an elephant go crazy.
Like, get angry?
No, this is more of a Tarzan movie thing.
What was the most interesting animal you've seen?
Most interesting?
Yeah.
Oh, most interesting animal. I kind of like goats. Goats, you don't realize it, but goats can climb. So they'll climb up on top of a house. So if you're watching a goat, you know it's a very curious animal, and it'll climb, and it'll go on top of a house. It'll climb into a tree, and you're trying to figure out what motivated this little animal. Most goats are pretty small. And why do they climb trees? You know, I mean, what makes an animal want to climb up a tree? Especially a goat, because it looks like a little horse, but yeah, it's real small.
Do you think you're ever going to settle down anywhere, and if so, where?
I'm going to probably settle down in about 4 countries. And what I'd probably do is spend like 3 months in Guatemala, 3 months in Togo, West Africa, 3 months in the Philippines, and maybe 3 months in somewhere in Europe. That way I would always have a different aspect. I mean, your friends, you know, talking with your mother, your father right now, the intimacy that you have with your family and friends can be achieved with Skype now. So I can sit here and look at you, talk to you, and this is only going to get better. I mean, it's not going to get worse. We're going to be able to communicate with anybody on the planet without a problem.
Cool. All right. Well, it's been great talking to you.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can do it again sometime. And we'll all visit your blog site and vote on where we want you to go.
Okay, I'm going to please vote, and I've recorded this, so you'll be able to see it on hobotraveler.com. Click on blog, and I'll be posting it. I'll try to send your teacher Wendy, or well, the various teachers here, a link to it. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you. Happy Easter.